Today, we're digging into one of the most persistent problems for small business owners, especially those in hospitality, a lodge or resort owner. How do you actually market your business effectively without it turning into a second unpaid full-time job?
It's the constant struggle, isn't it? I mean, so many of these marketing plans, they look fantastic in a pitch.
Right.
But the minute the owner tries to actually do it, it crashes. The sources we have today are focused on something called low-friction marketing.
Or no friction, okay.
And it's really designed to avoid those classic pitfalls that just create more work, more confusion, or more cost.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We're talking about a system that's supposed to be a shortcut, a way for a small business to get a thriving online presence without, being chained to a keyboard all day.
That's the idea.
So what's the core mission here? This plan is called the Annual Guest Story Engine.
Right.
What's it trying to do?
The mission is really simple. It's about future-proofing the business. This whole system is designed to quietly solve a huge and often invisible business risk that a lot of established lodges face.
And what's that?
Well, they rely so heavily on traditional word of mouth and, this core group of repeat guests who've been coming for decades.
The classic loyal but aging demographic problem.
Exactly. And the risk is what happens when that core group starts traveling less, or they bring smaller groups, or eventually they age out of the trip completely.
The revenue gap doesn't appear overnight.
No, that's the scary part. The sources say this decline appears slowly and then suddenly. And by the time the owner realizes there's a problem, it's a full-blown crisis. They're playing catch-up.
So this system is meant to continuously bring in new, younger groups to fill that gap before you even see it.
Precisely.
That makes a lot of sense. So for you listening, the goal is to find a way to stay visible online year-round, attract new groups without chasing them, and not get buried in daily tasks.
Which really sounds like automation is the only way you could do that.
It has to be.
It is. This low-friction idea means the solution has to be an automation system that quietly runs in the background. The plan itself is structured as a high-efficiency, automation-led hub-and-spoke model.
And let's be clear, the website is the hub here.
Oh, it's the undisputed hub. Every single thing, every social post, every email is just a spoke that leads people right back to that central website.
Okay, but this is where I start to get a little skeptical. Because any system, I don't care how clever it is, it still relies on a person somewhere.
Of course.
If the owner drops the ball on the core human tasks, this whole engine just becomes a single point of failure. So what are the absolute rock-bottom minimum things the owner has to do?
This is so crucial. The plan identifies 3 essential tasks. Things you just can't automate or outsource. First, the owner has to answer the phone.
The human touch.
That direct connection is still key for closing those big, high-value bookings. Second, they have to diligently fill out the website booking calendar.
Because if the system sends a hot lead to the site and the availability is wrong,
you've just broken all the trust instantly.
Yep.
Exactly. And the third one is to reply to comments on Facebook. These 3 things, the phone, the calendar, and the social replies, are the only required daily human jobs. Everything else is handled by the system.
Everything else, like the content creation, the scheduling, all of that.
All of it.
That sounds incredibly efficient, which brings us to maybe the boldest claim in the source material.
I know which one you mean.
We're talking about a daily social presence, 50-plus SEO blog posts a year, all within a budget of 20 hours a month.
Right.
20 hours. How is that even remotely possible?
That claim lives or dies on the spreadsheet automation piece. The old way, a person has to write, edit, and schedule every single post.
Right. A huge time sink.
But in the system, those 20 hours are spent feeding the spreadsheet the raw ingredients, not formatting the final meal.
Okay, help us understand that. What are they feeding it? What are the ingredients?
It's simple data, guest names, a quick photo description, dates of local events, basic details about a big catch and the calendar updates. The system then takes that raw data and uses these pre-approved high-performance templates to generate drafts.
The ones we'll talk about later.
Exactly. So the human work is just data entry and those crucial human replies, not the content creation itself. That's how you get to 50 blog posts a year without a massive labor bill.
Okay, that starts to connect the dots on the low-friction promise. So now that we get the how, let's trace the what. This is a 4-phase cycle, right? A guest relationship cycle.
Right. It flows from creating new conversations to building trust, which makes the guest experience better, and that leads to rebooking and referrals.
Let's start the year in the cold months. Phase 1, January and February. the sports show season.
Yeah, and the goal here is it's a bit counterintuitive for a sales event. It's not about pressuring people for bookings or throwing discounts at them. The main goal is to answer that visitor's silent question. Can I actually trust these people with my limited time and my hard-earned money?
So instead of a sales pitch, you're leading with value, these value-add digital assets.
Precisely. You lead with your expertise, not a discount. You offer something genuinely useful, expert fishing tips, a map of the lake, a pre-trip packing list, something anyone can use even if they don't book with you.
And that establishes you as an authority.
It does. And it encourages them to take the single most important step. Go to the website and join the email list. You're turning a quick chat at a loud, crowded booth into a real digital relationship.
A smart way to make sure that conversation doesn't just end there. Okay, so moving into phase 2, March and April, the preseason, the tone shifts here.
Yes, completely. The focus moves away from marketing and toward education and confidence building. This is what they call the pre-launch nurture phase.
So helpful emails.
Really helpful emails, things that reduce friction before they even arrive. Clear directions, parking info, maybe even what bait has been working lately. You want to solve their problems before they're even problems.
Because an unprepared guest is a stressed guest.
Yeah.
And stressed guests don't leave good reviews or create good stories.
Exactly. Happy, prepared guests are the ones who create the content that fuels this whole engine. And that brings us to the next step, which is psychological priming.
Okay, that sounds a little academic. What does it mean in practice? It's about setting expectations, right?
It's just planting a seed early on. In those pre-trip emails, you explicitly tell the guests that their photos, their stories, their best moments, they will be featured on the lodge's social channels.
Oh, that's clever.
The whole point is to set the expectation that you're not just a customer, you're part of this season's story. It primes them to show up ready to share, ready to take good photos, because they know they might be featured.
If I know I might get famous, I'm definitely bringing my good camera. Okay, so now we're into the peak season. Phase 3, May to October. The heart of the year. This is the customer content celebration.
And this is where that low-friction automation really kicks in. The whole phase is designed to provide consistent proof that the lodge is active and alive.
So what does that look like day to day?
It's a simple daily rhythm, a daily weather update, a featured guest image, and importantly, mentions of local events. Consistency is everything here.
I want to dig into that local events piece. That feels like something an owner would just post on a whim, but the source material says it's a strategic SEO move.
It's hugely strategic. It's about building what they call district authority.
District authority?
Yeah, think of Google or AI systems trying to map out who the most reliable expert is for a specific geographic area. By constantly talking about local events, local history, regional news, the lodge positions itself as a central local node.
So you're telling Google, we are the authority for this entire region, not just for our little slice of it.
That's the strategic win. When someone searches for a local restaurant or a county fair, your lodge's website starts popping up as a reference point. It builds so much relevance and trust.
I love that. It's so much bigger than just selling fishing trips. Okay, and they also use a great technique for building their email list mid-season, the cliffhanger stories.
Yeah, this is super effective. The system grabs an exciting moment, like someone has a giant fish on the line, or there's a funny story about a boat launch, and it shares the beginning of that story on social media.
But not the end.
But not the end. To find out what happened, did they land the fish? Did the truck roll into the lake? You have to click through to the website or subscribe to the newsletter. It uses that peak excitement to drive subscriptions.
And what about the shoulder season? August, September. Those can be tough months to fill. The plan avoids panic discounts, I see.
Absolutely. The strategy flips. You stop selling peak summer excitement and you start selling calm, space, and a different kind of experience.
Right.
The content shifts to education with messages like, some people say this is the best time of the year. You focus on the fall colors, the quiet lake. You fill those runs with value, not a lower price tag.
Excellent. Okay, let's close the loop. Phase 4, retention and rebooking. This is November and December.
This is where the whole year comes together. The system uses something called the Echo feature. It revisits the highlights from the past summer, the best guest photos, the best moments.
So it's targeted nostalgia.
Exactly. It's not a generic holiday email. It's a specific reminder of how great their trip was, and it thanks them for being part of it. People rebook with places that remember them.
And the call to action.
The circle closes by showing them the updated live availability calendar for the next year. It's an invitation to rebook, and it fills up those prime weeks before they ever go public. And the sources are very clear. No pressure, no fake urgency. The good memories and the clear calendar do all the work.
Okay, let's shift to the tech behind all this. The automated content is only as good as the writing. And the source material talks about some really interesting AI-enhanced writing structures.
This is where it gets really fascinating. The knowledge for this came from managing a huge online publication called Learn AI to Profit.
Right, with tens of thousands of subscribers.
And over 250 authors. And the editors there noticed this huge inconsistency. Some authors just always did better than others, even with similar topics.
So they put the AI on it. What did it find in those top-performing articles?
It found patterns, specific pacing, certain emotional arcs, and most importantly, these really clear payoff structures that satisfied why the reader clicked in the first place.
We took those patterns.
And they started transforming even basic guest stories or updates into these proven formats, and the read ratios they shot up.
Wait, how much of a jump are we talking about?
They documented read ratios going from a pretty standard 30-35%.
Yeah, it's typical.
All the way up to a consistent 65-70%.
Wow, that is a massive difference.
It's huge. It's the difference between content that gets ignored and content that builds real trust. The automation isn't just pushing words out, it's making sure the content doesn't feel robotic or crap. It's telling a good story.
Okay, but we have to pivot to the skepticism here. Because the owners who've been burned by these systems before, they know where the real friction is.
For sure.
Let's talk about the skeptical owners' critical gaps. Where does a system like this actually break down?
The first one is content pipeline friction. The whole engine runs on guest content. If you don't make it easy for guests to send you good photos and stories, the engine just starves.
The psychological priming isn't enough on its own.
It's a good start, but the plan is missing what they call a physical friction reducer on site.
Meaning, like, making it physically easy for them to do it.
Yes. You need a sign that says, upload your catch here with a QR code or maybe a dedicated tablet in the lodge where people can drop their photos before they forget. If the raw material doesn't come in, the system grinds to a halt.
That's a huge reality check. Okay, what's the second big concern?
The labor reality, that 20 hours a month number. A lot of owners look at that and just laugh.
Because they're still the bottleneck for the most time-consuming stuff.
Exactly.
Wow.
Answering the phone, replying on social media, and you actually running the lodge. If the owner's busy cleaning cabins or guiding a trip, those 20 hours of marketing work are the first thing to go.
And the third gap.
It's the shoulder season specificity gap. The plan talks a good game about filling those months, but the daily content, the weather, the fishing photos, it's all built for peak season.
Right.
The owners felt it was missing specific, dedicated content that really educates people about the unique magic of September or October. You can't just use your summer content and hope it sells a completely different experience.
So what does this all mean for you? Well, this annual guest story engine, it seems to be about solving the right problem, the right amount. It's about building an asset that works for you every single year, bringing in younger guests and growing your group sizes organically.
And if you look at the bigger picture, this kind of system is really insurance for the future of the lodge. It's not just a marketing campaign for one season. The sources make it really clear that the cost of doing this is tiny compared to the long-term cost of inaction.
Which brings up a really important question for you to think about as you consider automation in your own business. This plan leans pretty heavily on complex spreadsheet automation and that magic AI that boosts the read ratios.
Right, stuff that's handled by an external expert.
Exactly. But the owner is still the human bottleneck for the responses, the phone, the calendar, the social media replies. So the efficiency is built on this technical infrastructure that the owner might not fully understand or manage.
A bit of a black box.
Yeah. So what happens if that complex system breaks? Or if that external expert disappears? Who ensures the continuity of this mission-critical machine? Is that high efficiency worth the risk of having a single, highly technical point of failure running in the background?
That tension, between leveraging that complex efficiency and keeping simple direct control, that's the balance every small business owner has to find. And we hope this deep dive has given you plenty to think about.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.